Hello everyone, welcome. So to those not in the know, I've pretty much finished up base rise to what I feel like is a satisfactory point, and I'm actually finishing up Sunbreak right now. Just have a few more guys to go through and we're pretty much done. So been enjoying Rise quite a bit and Sunbreak quite a bit too, and I just kind of decided might as well make a basic, I guess the best way, but just like a basic tier list of my thoughts on all the monsters in base rise, and hopefully once I finish up Sunbreak eventually, we'll be able to do a full tier list on that, hopefully. But I just want to compile my thoughts a little bit and just talk about them, so again, just more just general thoughts than anything else, and just kind of go from there, so yeah, not really much else to say, so let's kind of just get right into it. So first off, just to kind of explain the tier list a little bit. So S is like stuff I'm really into, like yeah, I like to fight quite a bit. A is stuff that's like it's fine, like I don't really have an issue with it. It's a fun fight, but not that strongly about it. B is like I don't really have strong thoughts either way. Like it's not a bad fight, but it's not like a particularly good fight in my opinion. While C is stuff actually a little bit more negative stuff overall than positive. Because I feel like none of these fights are really bad per se. Like some aren't the greatest, but I think they're more bland and annoying rather than bad. And plus, I prefer dual blades, so that has influence and stuff too. So yeah, that's kind of just a general idea for most of the tier list. Though of course, there's also bottom, which is Apex. And speaking of Apex, we'll go right into Apex stuff. So other people have already gone through Apex stuff already, and I don't repeat their stuff here. But to those not in the know, Apex stuff is like the hard stuff of base rise, the upper tier content, and they're basically just reskin deviants that have been from earlier games that have been tweaked a bit, but they don't have any real gear that you can get from them, and they're also, the weapon sets they have are not the greatest, in my opinion, and they only go up to high rank. They don't go master rank, so you go through like some of the hardest stuff in base rise, and then it's like master rank is basically useless because like they don't scale past high rank. So yeah, it's like not the greatest thing in the world, and honestly, I have very little interest in finding any of them. They're pretty much the main content I'm fine with just going past because like they're basically deviants, but worse in terms of reward. And I'm already very deep in the master rank, so even the challenge is like not really there because like I already have pretty decent master rank gear and just I'll go through them pretty quick. So it's like even for like challenge sake, I don't really have an interest in that. So it's like yeah, even if I did want to go there, it's like yeah, it's not even really a reason. And plus, I have like a certain amount of time in the day to do stuff, and honestly, I prefer to spend my time somewhere elsewhere than Apex stuff. So I guess to start off with, let's just kind of get all Apex stuff in the very bottom because like it's stuff I don't really want to talk about. I don't really have an input on. They're probably fine fights. Again, they're deviant stuff. So where's the ogre? There it is. And I think it's all of them, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much all of them. So again, they're fine fights. They're deviants from earlier games, but given that they lack rewards and aren't really that interesting in my opinion compared to deviants, it's like I have no interest in finding them, so I really have no opinion on them, so we'll just kind of just move on from there. Alright, actually into the main list itself. Let's actually start off with Azuchi, so good old Azuchi. I really like the Raptor Wyvern like stuff he did because like it isn't like I do love Great Jaggy a lot, that like deep Gibbon call I really do like. But he's very interesting because he actually focuses more on his tail than just like body checks, charge, head swipes, bites, etc. So I'm happy that he's actually has a somewhat unique moveset. Especially like the wall jump attack is definitely interesting. So they definitely did make the Raptor Wyvern idea really interesting. And plus I really do enjoy like his minion mechanic, because like a lot of Raptor Wyverns have is that they have a bunch of guys going around and just they'll try and mob you while you fight the big guy. And instead of just them doing uncoordinated attacks, Azuchi's stuff has two little smaller guys go with the big guy, but they're very coordinated with him. So when he spins, they spin. When he spits, they spit, etc. I think it's a really fun mechanic because like it's a little bit annoying when you deal with like say a baggy and or the roggy, and one small guy comes out of nowhere and smacks you, it ruins your combo or just staggers you a bit. It kind of feels a little bit weird, especially if they come from behind you where you can't really see them before they attack you. But Zuchi, it feels a little bit more fun because you're actually trying to dodge both the big guy and the smaller guys, and it's very fun. But besides that, he's just a fun raptor wyvern. You know, I always love Jaggy and all that stuff. But I do like Azuchi honestly quite a bit, considering. And I'm really hoping that eventually we can maybe get more fleshed out wyverns of this type, because like quite a few of them are like, eh. And I prefer maybe to get some better move sets or a little more coordination with their packs, maybe. Though that may be Azuchi's thing and only Azuchi's thing, so we'll see about that. But you know, I'm very excited for like Doshigama in Wilds for that reason, because it's like one big guy, two smaller guys, and they're not like one big guy and like 10,000 little guys that constantly keep on spawning. So yeah, either way, I'm very excited. So I guess he can go up to A. Like, I don't really have strong feelings about him positively, but he's a fine fight overall. But yeah, let's actually get into other bird wyverns of that rough type. So Baggy and Roggy. So I don't really have strong feelings on them either way, particularly because like they're basically just body checks, bites, and smaller guys, but Baggy is sweep, Roggy, poison, and that's pretty much it. Which is a shame because these are some of the monsters I fought in Third Ultimate when I was like really young, and I really liked those fights. But and I really like the aesthetic of them too, especially Baggy without a horn. It's just I love it. But unfortunately, they're not that strong either way, so I kind of feel a little bit about them really. I mean, they're fine fights, but this thing is compared to Azuchi, who has a lot of like charm. They're not that particularly strong one way or the other. They're just fine, in my opinion. But besides that, I do still like them, and they're fun. And I definitely like how we're able to break the horn and the poison sack, and that, you know, matters a little bit, especially for parts and all that stuff. But especially for Roggy, because if you break the poison sack, it really messes up his poison, and if you don't have antidote to just simply just ignore the poison, you can just hit the sack and it'll just immediately like destroy most of his poison attacks being effective, so that's good. Though I wish kind of like Baggy had like more like a major attack with his horn where like he charged forward and like swinged it forward a bit, because like it'll be fun like him charging forward, swing the horn, immediately combo into a sweep, and then try and hit you again. That'd be really fun if that was a thing, but if he does have that attack, I haven't seen it, so that's a shame. But overall, they're just fine, middle of the road. Don't really have a strong feelings one way or the other, but I do like him still. And I guess we'll go for the next trio because it's easy to talk about all of them at once. Where is Zeros? There he is. I don't really think he's that strong one way or the other, really, personally. Because he basically just swipes and body checks and that's it. The honey interaction's interesting and it's fun. You know, if you have honey, you're able to give free hit combos on him while he eats the honey after he grabs you, but besides that, he's just kind of that. Like, he's just physical attacks, again, swipes, body check. The mastering body slam while he's charging you is definitely interesting. He does it fast, especially when he's afflicted, so, like, afflicted Zeros is definitely interesting, but even still, he's fine. Like, I don't really have strong thoughts one way or the other, really. He's mostly just a beat stick and a block of health they go through pretty quick, so I really don't have strong thoughts one way or the other besides that. On to someone a little more interesting, Wagambi. So I guess Wagambi is someone I have more positive thoughts about, because he is, again, very similar to Zeros, basically shares a lot of animations and a few attacks. And I think, like, his, like, better version of his sit down attack where he rolls backwards, and the sliding mechanic and ice stuff, like throwing ice balls and everything, snowballs, is a fun addition. It makes him feel a little more whole, because Azuros is like swipe, 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 body check, continue. Well, Mugambi is a little more dynamic, because he has a few more things he can do, which makes it a little bit better. And I really do like the fact that his swiping around can be really interesting, because he can do a donut basically. He can go back and forth really quickly. And overall, I think he's a lot more interesting, just a lot more fun overall, because he's just has a little bit more. He has a bit more meat on his bones, but he isn't, like, in my opinion, that bad really. Like, he has stuff, but isn't annoying, but it adds to the fight instead. So I'm happy for that, because Zeros is, blank slate basically. So having a little extra stuff, in my opinion, is quite nice for a monster of that type, really. So I'm really happy with that. And also, I do like his gear too, because for quite a while I used his ice gear for master rank and all that stuff. So honestly, he's not even that bad for gear either. So I actually really like Mugambi quite a bit. As for a variant that I believe isn't that great compared to the original, and maybe added stuff that, in my opinion, makes it a little more annoying, is like Volvidon. Volvidon, I have mixed feelings about him. Like, I'm happy like the armadillo idea really works really well. His tongue attacks and the rolling around is really fun. But the paralysis and all that other stuff is also good, I guess. But I don't know what I don't like about him, but I really don't like him for some reason. Compared to the others, like, it's not like his fight's that bad. It's honestly inoffensive, but I don't know, something about his fight I just don't like. Maybe it's because the rolling or paralysis is annoying, and like you get hit once, and unless your power code comes over, it kicks you in the groin to get you back up. Basically, you basically is instant death, which is interesting. But I don't know, just something about him. Like, even Stink Cloud isn't that impactful really, because very often I use dual blades quite a bit, so like it's very easy to get around him and just hit his face while he's doing it. Unless you're stuck in mid combo. But I don't know, it feels like the fight, it takes a lot longer than it should, in my opinion, or it made it feel like that. I'm not sure if it actually does, but something about him, I just don't know. I just don't really like too much. I can't even really describe it. Something about it I just don't like, and like none of his fights, like, it's not. I don't know. Like, Mugambi feels like he adds stuff to it. Volvidon is like, he has his swipes and all that stuff, but something about it just I don't really like too much, unfortunately. So it's a shame, but he's still fine. But again, I'm just trying to think of why I don't like him exactly, but I really can't get a definite reason. It's just something about him I just don't like compared to the others. So yeah, I can't really think of it. I guess maybe just I guess I just don't like the fight too much overall. I guess that's the best way to put it. So not really definite reason, but yeah, I guess I just don't like the fight. So yeah, but he's still fine. But I have more negative feelings around him than the others really. Because at least Azuros, I guess, is like inoffensive. Because you have to do something for people to not like you. So Azuros is kind of just across the board fine. So I don't know. I guess more just personal taste. Alright, let's actually get into Kuwu. Yeah, Kuwu. Inoffensive. Like, I don't really care for him one way or the other. Like, he's basically just a raptor wyvern. Has the same basic body structure for the icon as well. And he's very similar, beak attacks. He has the rock, which he tries to beat you to death with, which is funny, but yeah, it's basically just it's like Baggy or like Roggy or Azuchi, but more rock based and without the guys to support him. And honestly, like, that rock giving him armor is fun, all that stuff, and the beak attacks can be fun. And the lunges are definitely nasty if you get caught in them, especially on master rank, but honestly, I don't have strong thoughts either way. Like, he's fine. The rocks are interesting, I guess, but besides that, he has nothing really besides his general attacks, so he's kind of just fine overall. I don't really have a problem with him. I can some. I'm kind of mixed between like B and A little bit because like, hold on, I'll put him B for a moment before I get into him a little bit. I do like the like, I do like the like egret kind of look to him. The umbrella part of him, not so much, but like the egret part is like very interesting. I'm really happy for like more like bird types in the game. That's why I kind of like Malfesto a bit because I like the owl, like the owl. Blech. But yeah, the owl kind of like visual look he has. So I'm really happy with like an egret like kind of monster as well. I really do like that. But overall, I think he's fine. Like I don't really have too much to say. Like fire spit is a little bit annoying when they bounce around, but that's fine. It's more fun than anything else. And him just doing those like sweeps of his wings, the lunges with his beak and all that stuff, and charge is fine. The charge looks a little bit silly because like he just not he like it's that one attack where it's like you don't know why the monster is really doing it because he just knocks himself on his arse basically when he does it, but yeah, like he's fine. Like, I don't really have a problem with him. I'm more positive than anything else. So I guess maybe he goes up in A, like a very small A. I guess the best way to put it. Because like I do have more positive than negative about him. I think he's a fun fight. I do like the sweeps of his wings and the lunges again, but I think he's fine. And plus I like his gear a lot. He's my main fire weapon, basically, so I do like it for that at least. But overall I don't have much else to say. He's fine. Like I don't really yeah, it's more like I guess more like Wagambi, where it's like it's not that strong of a positive, but it's fine. I do like it, so I don't really mind fighting him too much. So yeah, I guess he's fine overall. Though I do definitely like his like, the umbrella stuff is yeah, but still I definitely do prefer the animal part instead of the yokai part. So of his design. So yeah, he's fine. All right, I guess who we go for next? Tetra? Yeah, Tetra, sure. Tetra. I do like amphibians. I definitely do like that in the game. And his whole like the platypus beak is definitely quite nice. I really like that. And don't really care too much about his size increasing or decreasing in that whole state. Because honestly it makes him pretty easy. Because like you just easily stagger him very quickly if you just wail on him long enough. And since he's so slow, it's like with dual blades, you just bounce around him so much that like I just dealt with an afflicted Tetra not so long ago, and I just went right through him basically. And he's fine, but I don't really. The water is nice. It's nice to have more water monsters in the game. I definitely prefer that over fire, especially. So, yeah, that's good. Honestly, I think he's more like middle of the road because, like, especially like dual blades, like his fights fun, I guess. But problem is like with dual blades, with all that vertical momentum he can get easily, it's very hard for him to hit you because he's very stout, and that's fine. But he has no way to hit you in the air really, unless he's big enough to actually hit you. But that's only if he's actually bigger slices or not. So, like a lot of his attacks, especially when he's smaller, you just jump right over him. Like when he charges, and it's almost humorous because like I just jump over him at the end of a combo, and it's like, oh, he just can't hit me. Okay, but overall, I think he's fine. Don't really have strong thoughts one way or the other, so he's fine. Though I definitely do like I guess the turtle look to him is also good, but to be fair, I prefer if we got a proper turtle instead of platypus turtle kappa look. But overall, I think he's fine. Nothing really much to say, relatively. Bishaton. Yeah, he's fine, I guess. Like, I don't really have a problem with him, really. So, yeah, B. Honestly, I don't really have much of a strong view of him. is a monkey, you know, it's a monkey, so he's kind of just there. His whole like arm tail is definitely interesting. I'll say that. Where he swings around and like throws fruit everywhere. I do like the idea of him throwing fruit everywhere, as in like he's not immune to poison or paralysis particularly, but or you know, the flashbang. But he uses them and he has to cover his face and all that stuff to you know, defend himself when he uses those as attacks, which is interesting. It's a fun little idea of like a monster who actually uses stuff from his environment rather than just conjuring up fire out of nowhere, or you know, conjuring up ice somehow. You know, it's he actually uses stuff from his environment. Shame that Rise doesn't show him actually picking that stuff from trees or anything like that, really, or having a preference where like in the flooded forest it's maybe more poison, while in the Shrine Ruins it may be more paralysis. I think that'd be cool if he actually did that, maybe. Maybe show a little bit changes in his environment actually makes his attacks different, but overall I think he's fine. Like, I definitely like more monkeys. Monkeys are fun. And overall, he's fine. Like, you don't really have strong feelings, really. Again, tail is always good. Though, I feel like maybe if he was more monkey-like, that'd been fine, but I'm mostly fine with, like, half-wyvern, bird-like kind of feel to him. Because I feel like he doesn't reuse the feathers that much. He has like, one glide attack, but besides that, nothing else. Though I guess he does have a tornado attack, which is... it kind of works. Yeah, I guess it's fine, relatively. Again, nothing that strong one way or the other. Just fun fight overall. Just, yeah, he's mostly fine. Okay, let's see here. Who's next? Yeah, Puke. Sure, we'll do Puke. Good old Puke. Also, not strong one way or the other, really. Because, like, he's fine. Like, the poison's interesting. I kind of wish they didn't do so many of the world creatures, but, you know, I think they're developed roughly around the same time, so it kind of makes sense to use one for the other. So I guess it's fine. But Puke's fine, you know, poison is eh. Because again, if you just get 3 levels of poison decoration, it's just very easy to just ignore his whole gimmick of poison, because like, sure he'll still do damage, but you'll just ignore the poison, and that's what I did, pretty much. And after you get rid of poison, he is not that much, really. Like, the tail getting cut off, messing with his tail spray attack is definitely interesting. I do like the fact he actually goes around the environment to eat stuff to spit back at you. That's really cool. But overall, I just think he's a fine fight overall. Nothing really much else to say. But I do definitely like his look. The tropical look is really nice. I do really appreciate that, and his tongue attacks are actually a little bit fun to dodge. So, well, you know, I'm more positive than negative again, but it's like I'm not that strong feeling to actually really. Does he go up to an A? Because I do like him a bit. Yeah, no, we'll go. He'll stay in B for a moment. Maybe I'll change my mind as time goes on, but we'll see. Well, he's mostly he's middle of the road. I'm fine with him. He's fun, but not really that strong one way or the other. So, yeah. All right. I guess we could do Kazu. Let's do Kazu. Kazu, I like him quite a bit. I really do like the whole like primordial like cave wyvern look to him, where he's blind, he's wet and disgusting, to the point where he's almost like an amphibian almost, and he's just this gross little creature. And I love him. The electrical attacks are interesting, relatively, and the fact that he is like the way he moves around. Honestly, is really interesting because like he staggers a bit, he sniffs around a lot, and it feels like just like something that isn't used to fighting in the open, or it's very much like an ambushing predator trying to get used to open fighting because like it staggers around a bit, it holds off a lot of its attacks, so it pauses a bit, which throws off your guard and all that stuff. And it's really cool, especially with all his like relative neck attacks where he swings his neck around, especially in high rank or master rank, because some of those attacks are wild. And it's a really decently fun fight. And the armor is a little bit yeah, but again, it's like if you hit his head, you do so much damage so quickly. So it's like, sure, the rest of his body is relatively tough, but like if you hit his head, you just do so much damage. And honestly, I think I'll bring him up to S tier, honestly, because I really do like fighting Kezu quite a bit. Like I fought like over 11 of them at this point, or roughly maybe 11. I have like a full master rank set pretty much, besides the male, which I have different piece for, but overall I really like him quite a bit. Like he's been my thing for Rise for most of it. I use his dual blades quite a bit, and I've been using his gear for most of Rise too. So only recently have I gotten off it, but that's more because other gear I've been focusing more on like ice builds and fire builds more than anything else. So I haven't really been focusing on electricity stuff too much, but I really like his dual blades too because of that paralysis plus electricity. Even though it splits it and it's a little weird, but it's still fun to have as a weapon overall. So honestly, a really fun fight, honestly. I just really like the vibe of it too, where it doesn't even make any noise. The music is, there's no music. It's just him just making horrible little noises and screaming constantly, and there's no background noise. So at least they add the ambience of no music whatsoever, and it makes it way more interesting and memorable. So that's cool. I really do like it for that, at least. Yeah, I actually do like Kezi quite a bit, honestly. And I really hope he comes back and possibly with Giganox and Wilds, hopefully, because I really like having both a electricity cave wyvern and a poison cave wyvern, and maybe we can have a turf war between the two of them, and that'll be fun. But I can only hope. I can only hope. Yeah, very fun. Next guy. I guess we could do Baroff, sure. I like Baroff too, quite a bit. Baroff is one of my old favorites ever since I started playing Third Ultimate a long time ago. And yeah, I really like him quite a bit. The bulldozer kind of feel to him is great. The mud mechanic is fun. And him just acting like it's a bulldozer that runs through everything is very cool. I really like his design with the giant like snorkel like head that allows him to breathe through the mud while he rests in it. It's wonderful. I really do like Baroff quite a bit. Fun fight. Unfortunately, none of his gear is really what I need, so I don't really fight him too often, but despite that, he's still fun. I really like him quite a bit. It'll probably be really enjoyable to fight while he's inflicted, too, so yeah, because I really do like Baroff quite a bit, and honestly, I just like his design overall, and it's a fun fight overall, in my personal opinion. I think some of his mud can be a little bit annoying, but despite that, it's more about difficulty than anything else. It's not really annoying, but it's more of just a thing, so yeah, I do like him quite a bit, honestly. Not really much else to say, I just like him quite a bit. Design and fight-wise overall. Who's next? We could do... Tobi Kadachi's fine. Yeah, I do like Tobi Kadachi quite a bit, actually. Again, another world monster in Rise, but despite that, he's a really fun monster overall. Especially with dual blades, because like he has no hard bits whatsoever, no armor, so like you just go right through him, and it's really fun just to go back and forth with him a lot. Where he jumps around, and you jump around, all that stuff. It's really fun, really nice back and forth. And like he's honestly not a electrical monster I don't really hate too much, because like I feel like a lot of electrical monsters are a little bit too jumpy a little bit in some ways. I guess maybe not. It's more from another monster I'll get into shortly, but I do like how Tobiyashi moves around. It's a fun fight, and he's a relatively simple monster. Not, electrical attacks, pounces, he throws cools at you occasionally, and when he moves around, it's fun. So it's a fun fight overall. So, I guess is there anything else to say? Lack of armor, already talked about that. Movement, he's fine. Yeah, I don't know, just like the back and forth between him and Dual Blades is quite fun. So I do like it quite a bit, especially since I fought him on Master Rank recently, and that was very fun. So I do enjoy him quite a bit. So yeah, it's more of just a fun little fight on the side. Don't like him too much, but it's a fun fight. I do like it quite a bit. Alright, next we're kind of getting into higher tier stuff, so yeah, you, fish. I don't know what. I actually need to talk about him for a bit. So, fish. I forgot his name. Hold on, I'll be right back in just a moment. Oh yeah, Jurototus. I remember now. Jurototus. There we go. Remember the name now. Yeah, Jurototus. He's fine overall. Like I'm happy. Like he's a little more built up because I know World is like the mud mechanics are a lot different and the water mechanics are a lot different. So Jurototus was very limited based on that, especially since he only appears in one area and he only is limited to small areas of that area. So he isn't that widespread, but in the flooded forest he can go pretty much anywhere because most of it is covered in water. So he's a lot more interesting overall, in my opinion, at least area wise, than in World. Though of course ecology stuff is different, but fight wise, he's a lot more widespread. And overall, he's fine. Like I think he's like lesser bear off almost, where he has mud mechanics and all that stuff, and he's fine. Like I don't really have an issue with the mud mechanics that much. And I do like the fact that he can be hit while he's swimming around, and he can hit you while swimming around, and like it's a lot more balanced fight rather than him hiding in the mud and he can't do anything until he pops out. So it's pretty decent to make him pop out too, just do damage to him pretty easily and just make him come out on forcing him out basically. So it's a nice little fight there. To be fair, I just don't really think he's like that great overall. Like he's fine. I don't like him over Bear Off, definitely not, but he's fine. Like I don't really have strong feelings one way or the other really. I guess yeah, I can go in B roughly. But like he's fine fight, not really too bad. Just I don't really like fighting him too much overall. Like some of the attacks are a little bit yeah, in my opinion. But I think he's fine overall. I'm happy he got a little bit of a revamp in from World into this game. So hopefully the fish wyverns are definitely a little bit better, wilds hopefully, and hopefully I may actually start liking them quite a bit. So I'm really looking forward to that if that's true. So yeah, but still, despite that, he's fine. He's a fish, so don't really have strong feelings one way or the other. Something I actually might as well, we're talking about mud. Something I do have strong feelings about. Almudron. And not because he's a really hard fighter or anything like that. It's just more like I do like his design visually. Like I really like the otter look to him. The tail is freaky and I love it. But I do like the like hermit vibe he has. And like the otter vibe is really interesting. I do like it quite a bit. Visually at least. Fight wise, I think the mud is a little bit too much in my opinion. I really don't like the mud too much. Where it's like he makes this giant pyramid of mud and like you have to go to him and it's like in a confined space. It's like, yeah, no, I won't do that. And I just wait him out basically because I'm not going to go in there and fight him in that area. I feel like his mud attacks are a little bit much, really. Again, just they seem a little bit too much. Like AoE is a little bit weird. He's spawning structures everywhere is weird. In my opinion, like it's a little bit like you're fighting the mud more than him, honestly, at some points. The mud ball is interesting, but very often it's like, especially when he's like a lot larger, like on the scale in terms of small to large monster size. Like larger Almudrons are a pain to fight because like they're so large that very often if you're right next to him doing dual blades, if you're mid combo, you can't really tell what attack he's doing, and it's like you get stuck mid combo. And it's like, oh, she's doing a mud ball attack where he slams into the ground and you're dead. Pretty much, it feels like that sometimes. But he's not really that bad of a fight, really. It's just more just he's so massive, especially when he's on again the larger scale. It just really sours the experience a bit, and the mud constricting the area even more it makes it feel even worse. Because again, just like it constricts your space so much that it feels even worse than before. Again, you're fighting the mud more than him, really. But no, sometimes I do go for him pretty quickly. Like one time I remember I just went for him very quickly because I just part break him over and over again and staggered him so many times that he really did not take that long. But other times it was a pain to get him down to the first part where they can start staggering him at all, so I think it's kind of like a case-by-case basis on how the fight goes, but overall I think he's fine, just don't have strong feelings one way or the other, really. No, I do have strong feelings. I don't like him overall. Like, he's fine design, but I'm so used to saying no. I'm so used to middle road stuff, I repeat myself, but I have more negative feelings than positive, really. Just, I don't really like his fight too much, really. And maybe if they tone down the mud a little bit, I'll like him a lot more, but until then, he's kind of like a monster for me. I don't really like fighting him that much. And the funny thing is, I didn't really fight him at all. Like, unless I had to get some of his, see what gear he had, I refused to fight him pretty much because I just don't like it at all. So, even with his gear, like his weapons are decent, I guess, for water, but besides that, I just avoid him most of the way just so I don't have to deal with him. So, if that says anything, I don't know what else will. So, yeah. All right. Next one, World Woodruff. I like him quite a bit actually. Been a fan of him ever since Third Ultimate, and kind of a little fun fact, he's actually my what I used for dual blades back then. I actually used his water dual blades for that game. So yeah, I like him quite a bit. I've always been a big fan of design. Really like his fight overall. And I really like I like his whole iconic like move is him just running around just spraying water everywhere. That's a really fun fight, like attack to dodge, and been very enjoyable. The main is a great target to hit along with his head, so you have a lot of chances to hit him. Though his body's armored and his tail's a little bit tough, so it's a give and take. So it's a lot more interesting. It's not just like Tobi-Kadachi's fun for back and forth, but he's like completely unarmored. Woodruff's a little bit slower, but he's a little more tanky, and that's fine. But overall, like his relationship to Woodruff isn't that great in Rise, so he isn't like the Ragi, Baggy, or Izuchi, where he just summons guys constantly. The Woodruff, like, they occasionally fight alongside him if they're in the same area, but even still, it's not really that big of a deal. But overall, I really like to fight. Really like more water monsters, and I always been a big fan of him, so not really much else to say there, really. Just very fun fight. I really like the, stuttering a lot. Really stuttering. But sorry for that. But I really do like his like call, where it's like almost like a bird call, almost like eagle call, which I really like. It's like something so weird to hear out of something that big, but I like it. I like Jaggy's given call, so I like Woodruff's eagle call. It's a nice little touch. It's fun. So yeah, really like him quite a bit. And plus, like his water dual blades and rise aren't that bad either. So if I ever go for a water build for whatever reason, I may just go for that. So yeah, definitely looking forward to fighting him again, or a few times while afflicted, just to get stuff from him. So yeah, really excited overall. I'm very, very happy he's in the game. Really happy to have more love from some of the stuff that was in for Ultimate and all that stuff. Really nice. Really nice to have all that be brought back and touched up a bit. Alright, next guy. Anjanath. Sure. Anjanath, he's fine. Like, I don't really have too much of a thing for his fight, really. Like, the fight's fun. Like, but I don't really have too much of a strong feeling about it, really. Or do I? Uh, I'm trying to justify trying to get him an A rating. Like, do I like him over some of the other stuff here? Not really. Not really. Yeah, I guess he's in the middle of the road unless I talk myself into it, so maybe if I talk about it some more, maybe I will work myself up to it. But again, it's another world monster, so, design's pretty decent. And his implementation in Rise is fine. He moves around, spits fire everywhere. Ecology's a little bit lacking, but that's Rise in general. But he's always just been fine. Like, some of his attacks are really brutal. Where especially in Master Rank, where he gets up on where he stands up tall and just slams back down, hits like a truck. It's definitely a nasty attack, but besides that, the fire attacks are fine. His body slams are interesting, but the fins and nose crest are always nice little visual designs, but honestly, I never had too much of a strong feeling towards him, really. Like, especially since he's so high up with dual blades, it's kind of hard to hit his head unless you knock him down, or you do that whole spine run attack where you go across his back. But besides that, he doesn't really have too much going for him, in my opinion. Like, again, I think like World kind of hammed him up a bit, where he's just here in this game. So I think it's probably way better in World. So yeah, but honestly, he's not a bad fight. He just I don't have strong feelings really towards it. It's just fine. Like he's fine. I just don't really much else to say really. So yeah, I guess he'll stay middle of the road then. Yeah, I guess he'll stay middle of the road. All right, Basarios. Yeah, let's deal with him. I He's a fine design, I like him, but I just don't like his implementation in this game. First off, his whole burrowing mechanic, thing, where he hides in the dirt, and that's his whole thing. It's in fact what his icon is, pretty much. He doesn't do it in this game. He never burrows, really. Besides one attack, but that's only where he just tries to dig towards you. And that's kind of a shame, because I'm hoping to, like, stumble upon him, like, in the middle area where he's like, oh, weird group of rocks. Oh, that's him. And like commit, like he could have like hid himself from the mini map possibly, so you had to look for him a little bit. That'd be very fun. Have a scavenger hunt for him. Would be way more interesting than looking at the mini map. Oh, he's here. Go to him. Fight. Behind a little bit of scavenger hunt. We're trying to find him buried somewhere. Is really fun, but it could have been a fun idea. But sadly, they didn't implement it whatsoever. And like I feel like his heating up mechanic is where he heats up his armor kind of defeats the point of his whole fight, because like he's supposed to be a brick wall of like stone, like he's literally a block of stone, and that's his gimmick. He's heavily armored, and I feel like him heating up his own armor, which is his main ecological reason for survival, which this seems weird. It's like in order to attack something with any real power, he has to weaken his armor. That's his main defense because he's way too slow to actually defend himself properly, so he's relying on armor, but when he does his fire attacks, weakens the armor. Which seems weird ecologically, which, like, it just seems weird in my opinion. Like, he's destroying his own defense in order to get stronger attacks out when it's like, isn't he supposed to be, like, heavily fire resistant anyway, so his armor shouldn't weaken at all, but whatever. I don't know, just that whole gimmick seems a little bit meh to me. I really don't like his implementation, but besides that, he's fine, really. Like, his armor is a little bit annoying. The heat up mechanic is saying, though I prefer if they were actually, like, if he broke his armor, then it'll be weak for the rest of the fight, which will be a reward for breaking a certain part of armor, I mean, sure, maybe keep his head a little bit weak, fine. But if you still break it, it gets, instead of white armor, it's no armor. Well, heavy armor on the back, but it goes to white armor, no armor when it's broken, so I don't know, I just really don't like his implementation at all in this game. Especially since he doesn't have his adult form, Gravios, at all, so that's kind of a shame too. But, like, his fight's fine, the dig attack is a little bit but him rolling around is fitting, it's a boulder, so it's a fun fight besides that. Like, I do like his whole rolling around, and the gas attacks are interesting. They're fun. Especially when he walks forward, gas, and all that stuff. It's a very nice fight, besides that whole major issue with the armor, but I don't know, it's a decent fight. Dare I say, even pretty decently good fight, but his implementation just leaves a sour taste in my mouth, and I just don't really like it too much. But he's still a fun fight, despite that. Alright, let's actually start finishing up the mid-range stuff a little bit. Let's go for Mitsu. Yeah, I like Mitsu. I like him quite a bit. Do I like him above? Yeah, no, I like Mitsu quite a bit, honestly. I really do. It's a really fun fight. He moves around a lot. I really like the dishwasher attack, as I call it, where he just spins around and creates a lot of bubbles. His water jet is annoying to dodge, but it's still a fun fight and all that stuff. I really like It's like the back and forth with Tobigachi, but it feels a little bit better, in my opinion. Since he moves a little bit more, and he has a lot more body swams, so for like dual blades, it's really fun to go back and forth with him. It's really fun. Though, to be... No, it's a fun fight, and I do like the bubble mechanic, it's fun. The shame isn't that... Like, you can very easily go through the fight without seeing it that much, because it's very easy to dodge the bubbles if you're just constantly on top of them. But besides that, it's a very fun fight, and he's moves around a lot, he's very agile, it's very fun. And honestly, his gear isn't that bad either, so it's honestly second contender for water gear, maybe. But we have to see about that eventually. If I ever do go water, possibly. But overall, I do like him quite a bit. Just, it's a fun fight, go back and forth a lot. And honestly, I don't really much else to say. It's kind of like the problem with Volvodon, but opposite, where it's like, he's such a good overall fight, I like him quite a bit, that I don't really have one thing to really talk about. It's a fun fight, attacks are fun, dishwasher attacks are really funny, and it's a fun fight back overall, just for back and forth, so yeah, it's just a fun fight overall. Don't really have much else to say. I really like him quite a bit. Especially for like oh yeah, this is yeah, I almost forgot. I like how his like membranes change color, where it's like a more neutral color when he's calm, goes bright red when he's angry, and it's like this dull bluish color when he's tired. So I really like that touch a lot, especially. It's a nice visual change. And shows very easily when he's tired and all that stuff. So I really like that in particular. So yeah, I really like the visual design especially. So yeah, really like him quite a bit. Next guy, I don't know, Summer Camp. I, hmm, I really like the I really like the sweet monster idea of it, where it's like a siren and all that stuff, but isn't really shown too much. But the design is interesting. The sweep attacks are very interesting, but I really wish they kept like the otter stuff to Almudron, make him a little more unique rather than just pure mud. But because Summer Camp has an attack where she creates a flash when she hits a rock enough, but in her hands, and acts very much like an otter when she moves around. So I don't know. Like I feel like they split the otter stuff between Almudron and Summer Camp, and Almudron overall was better design-wise, but in terms of otter stuff, but his fight mud gimmick is annoying to me. I don't like it, but Summer Camp stuff is design isn't bad itself, honestly. I don't really have too much of an issue with it. I don't know, it's like I have a lot of mixed feelings on it. I'm trying like it's I wouldn't call it C tier really. Do I call it A tier? Because like the fight's fun, like it's fine. Not really much to it really. To be fair. I don't know. It's like I'm just like the sweep attacks are interesting. The way she uses that giant fin on her head to attack is also really interesting. The way she just sweeps it around. The body slams are fun to deal with, but is it really a fight I really particularly like, or is it just a fine fight that's middle of the road? I guess it'll be middle of the road. I guess because like it's fine. I don't have a real issue with it. I think it's a fine fight. It's fun, but I don't really have a major preference towards it. Yeah, I don't know. It's like sweep attacks are fun. The physical attacks are fun. The design is decent. I like it. Like the otter movements to it are definitely quite nice. And visually, again, I like the design quite a bit. Yeah, it's a fine fight. I don't really have much of an issue towards it. Sweep is always a pain because if you get sweep, you just get hit with a big attack and you probably just get one shot. But besides that, I like it quite a bit. It's fine. And yeah, I guess middle of the road's probably best for it. So yeah, it's like it's fine. I don't really have a strong preference one way or the other, really. Which is a shame. All right, actually, let's go into I think the final trio of this game. Yeah, let's do it then. Narkuga, where is he? There he is. Narg. He goes I like him at A. It's fun. Like, his whole tail gimmick is very fun. The way he throws scales out is very fun. He moves around a lot. It's very nice back and forth. Really do like him quite a bit. He moves fast, so it's, again, good back and forth with dual blades. I like his design quite a bit. You know, panther look to him is very nice. And he's just a really fast, agile fight. I like it quite a bit. And also being the fastest out of the 3 pseudo wyverns in the game is quite nice overall. Very fast, very fun overall. Those tail swings can be a little bit annoying, especially on master rank where he combos them. So it's like, no matter how many times I get hit by it, I never learn. So, because I always think, oh, he's done. No, he's not. The second one in a row. Yeah, it's a very fun fight. I like it quite a bit. To be fair, it's kind of just a. I guess like sometimes he gets a little bit too fast. It's kind of hard to track him a little bit, but I guess that's kind of the point. He's supposed to be faster than you. He's supposed to be way faster than you. So yeah, it's kind of the point. So yeah, I guess that's kind of just point. It's kind of the point of the fight. So starting again, but yeah, like don't really much else to say really. I like him quite a bit. It's a good, fast, agile fight. I like it quite a bit, and good fun. Really good fun. Alright, let's go to the middle of the road for the pseudo wyverns. Barryoff. I have mixed feelings. Like, he's fine, but I don't really have that strong of a feeling towards him, really. Like, he's fine. He's middle of the road. I really like the whole gimmick where if you break both his arms, he loses his traction on the ice, and it causes him to pause quite a bit, so you can easily stagger him a lot easier. And I like the whole gimmick where he jumps around a lot. He's, you know, the saber-toothed cat kind of look to him is nice. But overall, I just think he's fine. Overall, really, like his ice attacks aren't that noteworthy, really. And I just never really had a strong feeling or like affection for the fight, really. So like he's fine. I definitely do like the gimmick for breaking his arms. That's definitely fun, and it's nice that it's a nice reward. I do like fights where if you break a part of them, it actually changes the fight quite a bit. I really do like that quite a bit. And I'm hoping more fights become like that, where if you break a certain part, it actually changes the fight gimmick a bit more. Because you have difference between Barryoff with him jumping around constantly and Barryoff where his arms are broken, where he constantly slips and stumbles, is definitely very neat overall. I think the Master Rank version of him where he has his tail swim is very neat overall too, so it's fine. Like, decent addition, but it definitely hits like a truck though still. Yeah, I think he's a fine fight overall. Nothing really much else to say. It's kind of middle of the road, but I like him. He's fine. But nothing really noteworthy, positive or negative, really. Tigrex, or Tigrex, even though I don't like your pronunciation at all. Yeah, Tigrex. I like him quite a bit. He's a lot more of the power version of the pseudo wyverns, where Nargacuga is the fastest, Barryoff is in the middle, and Tigrex is the blunt force trauma one. So I definitely like how he charges. Like, charge around fight is definitely really interesting, where he just goes back and forth constantly. Though his tailspin at the end of his charge is always a pain, because like I don't expect it coming out half the time anyways, despite me fighting him a few times, and especially that hitbox is a little bit weird, and I swear I get hit when I shouldn't, but despite that, it's a very fun fight. And if you're just really fast against him, you can very easily go through him. But he can easily go through you as well, so it's like more of a DPS race to see who goes down first. But overall, I do like him. Design's good. I like him quite a bit. Very fast and aggressive fight overall. And again, like him going back and forth constantly with charges is always a mess to deal with, but it's always a fun mess. So I do like him quite a bit. So not a bad fight overall. Really do like it. Unfortunately, his gear isn't the best in my opinion, but still not bad. Still not bad at all. So Yeah, like him overall. Alright, next. We got for Pseudo Wyverns. Yeah, I guess, yeah, Gossarag. He's fine. Honestly, I like him quite a bit. Yeah, I actually do like him quite a bit. Design is neat. His ice attacks are, unlike Barrier Ops, a little bit more impactful. Like, that Ice Beam is massive. And his Ice Blades are very interesting. I really like that quite a bit. Though I do like the fact that he has some attacks where he still is, quadrupedal and not just staying straight the entire time. And overall, it's just a fun fight. Overall, really do like it quite a bit. Though to be fair, like I wish he was a little bit faster to start because like only a master rank doesn't feel like an actual threat because like especially in low rank and high rank, he does not move fast enough at the start, even with the ice blades. And like it feels like you can just go through him so quickly if he isn't going fast enough like in master rank. Like master rank he's actually a threat. Low rank and high rank, he just feels so slow that the ice blades, since they take so much damage, are major weak points, especially against fire damage. Now you just go straight through them pretty quickly and cause a stagger, so that scales out from there. You just stagger his face after breaking it, etc. So, like, definitely to get to the master rank to actually have a really good time with him and actually really pose a threat, but I really like the fight overall. It's really fun. Though it's a shame that again, it's like he has that slow phase and the fast phase, but promise when he's slow, it just you go through him so quickly. Yeah, it's like makes the fight go a little bit quickly if you're just really going into him and stagger him a lot. But overall, I do like the fight. Again, design is great. I like the ice blades and all that stuff. I'm really happy with monsters actually using tools, even if it's a self-created tool of ice blade and all that stuff. But I'm really hoping one day we get a monster that actually picks up a tree and just tries to hit you with it. So yeah, like a proper monster does it. So really hoping for that because like Bridgerton has his fruits, Gossarag has Gossarag has his blades, but I'm really hoping again we get a monster in the future that actually tries to pick up something from the environment and uses it as a proper tool for the major core to fight. So, but I definitely like the steps Gossarag is going into, but overall, like I do like the design quite a bit, and that kind of saves him a bit because if his design wasn't as good, he'd be in middle tier, like middle, maybe even bottom, honestly, because he's so slow unless he get to master rank, and that's kind of a major knock against him, really. So, yeah. All right, next guy. Rakikadaki, sure. Uh, Middle of the road again. Like, no, middle of the road or not. I do like the design quite a bit. I'm happy for like an end game spider enemy. That's really fun. And I like the gimmick of her using her young to move around and attack. No, we're bringing her up to A tier. I like her quite a bit. Really like her quite a bit. Again, the gimmick of her being using her silk and her young to attack is very cool. And I like the two phases where she has a phase where she has her normal abdomen, which she uses to slam down, and then she has a big egg sac in the back. Once you break all the legs and all that stuff and tear off the webbing, that's really cool. And overall, she's just a very aggressive fire monster, and I really like that quite a bit. And definitely a lot more unique overall, because it's not a wyvern, and honestly, I prefer that. So, yeah, really like her quite a bit. Her front legs are also her front mallet arms, I guess is the best way to put it. Not really legs. Really cool as well. So she has that long neck because I think that's like a pelican spider kind of thing, really. So they're freaky as hell. So I'm happy they got some influence from that. Yokai, yokai, yokai stuff is also really cool. Yeah, I just really like the design overall. The fight overall is very fun. I really like how you're able to break the legs multiple times to stagger her quite a bit. And it feels like a fight where you're breaking stuff does matter a bit. And again, the young gimmick is very cool. And apparently, you're able if you break the string she uses to connect her and the young, you break that. Apparently, causes a stagger. I haven't done it yet, but it's still a very cool gimmick to have. And the fight overall is very fun for that reason. So overall, I really like it quite a bit. Alright, next we have... who do we do next? Diablos, sure. Diablos, I really like to fight overall. I never really understood how to use the sonic bombs against him because for some reason it just doesn't really work when I try and do it, but you're apparently able to do it, and it's interesting. It's a nice little gimmick. But overall, I really like the fight because it's very similar to Tigrex, where it's like he goes back and forth a lot. Horn slams are really cool. I really like the sound effects and visual design he has. It's wonderful. And just the fight overall is very fun, very fast paced. And it's nice to have a monster like Tigrex that is like not elemental based. Instead, just brute force, like blunt force trauma. And I think Diablos is a little bit better in this game than Tigrex, so that's why I put him a little bit higher. But I still like both of them very much, quite a bit. So yeah, really do like him quite a bit. And Horn Slam's very good, especially in Master Rank when he gets really buffed up. It's a really tense fight, a really dangerous fight, and I really like that. So yeah, like it overall quite a bit. Though again, I wish the song bombs were a little bit more useful, because again, I can never get them correct at all, but it may just be a me thing more than anything else, so yeah. Alright, what's next? Basil juice, sure. All as you can see here, honestly, this fight wasn't that great in my opinion. Because like his bombs were there, but they weren't really there, like they weren't really that present. And besides, like, if you just get rid of his bombs, like, he has nothing else. He has a few charges. Of course, he has the, like, giant fly around with a bombing run, basically, which is really fun. But besides that, though, he isn't really that good. Like, I know in World he's a monster, but that's World. He was the kind of main star right now, but now in Rise, he's kind of a second fiddle to other stuff in the game, so it's a shame, but I do like his fight a bit, but the thing is, like, the bombs weren't really that great to deal with because they weren't really there. They were just more in the way. It weren't really a threat. And once you get rid of the bombs again, it's just basic tackles and the bombing run's fun, but overall he isn't that great in my opinion. At least I didn't enjoy the fight too much, and which is a shame because I do like his design and the bombing runs again really fun. But I think he just has more negatives in my opinion than positives in this game, in my opinion. So he's kind of just at the bottom, roughly. I don't know, just the bombing run stuff was the main saving grace, because otherwise that fight would have been pretty matte overall, and, that's kind of a shame. But, design and the bombing run is kind of the main thing that saved it, really. And I wish he threw out more bombs, honestly, because, like, the bombs he did throw out, they weren't really that threatening, really, so I would prefer he threw out even more of them. Be a lot more interesting then. Next guy. I guess Zinogre. Sure, Zinogre. He's fine. Like, his design's a little bit meh, in my opinion. Honestly, I don't like it too much. But his fight is pretty fun. He's basically combo, monster basically. So he just combos constantly. His charging up mechanics interesting. It's fun. It's a pretty fast paced fight, and if you're able to break his body parts and stagger him a lot, you're able to easily just go through him and just negate his charging a good portion of the time, because he won't be able to charge before you stagger him, and that really messes with him. His slam attacks are really interesting. His lightning attacks are interesting. His relationship with the bugs are interesting. But I wouldn't say he's like the most favorite. Honestly, I don't really like him too much. Really. Like, he's fine, but I don't have a strong liking for him at all. But it's a fun fight, though, despite that. I do really think that... I'm not sure, like, I know World had a different version than this one, than Rise, so maybe I would prefer the World version more, but I'm not really sure on that, because you had to go pretty deep into World to get him, and, yeah, with Wild's on the horizon, I don't really want to commit to another Monster Hunter game, so I guess for a moment I'll be in the backlogs eventually. Maybe never ever seen, so we'll see about that, but Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm like, he's fine. I may prefer the world version more, but for what he is, he's fine. I don't really have a strong way one or the other, but I think he's fun overall and a bit higher quality overall than average. So I think he's fine. All right. Ray Zhang. Okay. Ray Zhang, he's also fine. Very angry monkey is very fun. His lightning attacks are very strong. He's very aggressive, especially in master rank. And I really like he's more of a physical fighter than lightning, honestly, because I do prefer like monsters that don't rely too heavily on their lightning based powers, which is something that like kind of knocks his in like that kind of messes with Zinogre a bit because like without any lightning he isn't that much. Like his combos are still nasty, but they're not that bad. Like Beijing is like physical first, lightning second, and that lightning is still dangerous, but the physical is terrifying. And I really like the gimmick of him enraging. Like he is a nasty fight, especially on Master Rank again. Especially when he gets buffed up and his arms are like basically impenetrable. Makes a really nice gimmick to the fight. And overall, I think he's just a really fun fight overall. Unfortunately, his gear is a little bit meh, in my opinion, but despite that, I really like him quite a bit. I really like his design. I like more primates in the game, which is why I'm really excited for Kongawawa and Wilds, and why I do like Bishton for that too. I like primate-based monsters quite a bit. You know, you can probably tell a trend where I'm like, I don't really care too much about wyverns, but I do like other stuff quite a bit. And overall, I just really like, again, the fights overall is fun, very aggressive, and I had a rough time when I first fought him. To be fair, I had a lightning weapon, actually a Kezu's weapon, while fighting him, so that's probably why. It took me over like 40 minutes to fight him initially, so that was rough, but now I got better with him, and I have Ice Weapon now. He's a pretty fun fight, go for him pretty quick, and it's a fun, aggressive fight overall, and I really like it because of that. Alright, we're actually closing off on a lot of the regular monsters, we're almost done with it actually. Alright, Magnamalo. I don't really like him too much, really. Design-wise, he's a little bit chunky for my liking. And considering how fast he moves, it's a little bit... Yeah, the design is a little bit... I don't like it too much. Like, I know what they're going for. It's a cool design, but if he was a little bit slower, I think he'll fit better. But given how fast he moves sometimes, especially with the rocket jumping, apparently, because he can rocket jump, it's a little bit weird seeing him this chunky but also this fast. Like Zinogre kind of makes up for it because if he feels a little bit more built for it. Like Magnamalo looks a little bit too chunky for it, which is kind of a shame. But I do like the Hellfire Blight stuff. Is fun. It's a nice fight overall, but it's like I don't really have strong feelings one way or the other. Where it's like I have positives, but I also have negatives. It's just kind of in the middle. I do not like the fight too much though. Like I do have problems with it. Like he's bordering on C almost, where it's like I don't like the fight that much honestly. I feel like half his attacks are just like him jumping around a lot, and it's really hard to deal with him a lot of times. It's not really that fun, in my opinion. Like I like Nargacuga and Tobikadachi for jumping around, but I don't like Magnamalo. I guess it maybe because the rocket jumps are like a lot more annoying to deal with than anything else. Like at least Tobikadachi and Nargacuga, they were Emitsu. They use their own weight. Well, I guess Magnamalo feels more like he's just, he's using the game engine to transform his position. Like he's not moving on his own weight almost. It feels like, which is kind of why it just feels weird in my opinion. And I'm waiting for Scorn Magnamalo and Sunbreak. That'll be a mess. But hopefully it'll be a little bit better, or maybe I'll like it at least a little bit. So yeah, he's bordering on C almost. I just don't like him that much, honestly. Like, yeah, I just don't like him that much, really. Again, just that rocket jumping stuff, and just some of his moves are a little bit, yeah, I just don't like him that much. Unfortunately, his gear is pretty decent, but due to how the rampage stuff works, I can't get his weapon up unless I do more rampage stuff, apparently, which is something I don't want to do. So that's kind of a shame, but I used his weapons for a while, but they're fine. But overall, I just don't really have strong feelings, but it's more leaning on negative, but not negative enough to be C tier, so yeah. But still, like, he's a fine fight, but just he's leaning downwards a lot more than the others. Alright, Rathalos and Rathian, they're both an A. Sure. They're basically the same monster, essentially. Just Rathian's more about poison and on the ground, a lot of tail sweeps, while Rathian's more in air and more fire-based, a lot of fire, a lot of fireballs, but they're both poisonous and fire, just Rathian's more ground poison, Rathalos is fire, air, so they're both very similar, so it's fine if I put them up together, really, in my opinion. So, they're both fine. Like, I like their fights quite a bit. Especially Rathian. Like, Rathian's fine. Rathalos is a nightmare, in my opinion. Because all the, like, once you have flash bombs, his flying will get so annoying so quickly, because he'll just go back and forth and just spoot fire everywhere. Spit fire everywhere. Tail sweeps, just everything. Dive bombs. It's a very fast-paced and a very aggressive fight overall. Rathian's a little bit slower, but more ground-based, a lot of tail sweeps, a lot of poison. And overall, they're fine fights overall. I like them both. Nothing really wrong to say about them. It's just Rathalos is probably a little bit harder to do. Rathian's a little bit easier. Rathalos is a little bit harder. Kind of wish once you broke off their tail that they won't cause poison anymore, but yeah, it's fine. And I think in World it was like that, where if you broke their tail, they don't poison anymore. And I kind of wish I was still saying, because if you break the tail, it's like, sure, the hitbox may get a little slower, but or a little bit smaller, and maybe hit you less often, but not slower. But it still poisons you despite that, so that's a little bit of a that's a bit of a downside of how they were implemented in Rise, because like I would prefer if they cut tail, no more poison. But despite that, both fun. I really like them a lot. And honestly, they're pretty decent overall. Very good for like Wyvern riding stuff, because their fire attacks and poison attacks do a lot of damage. So you can basically just annihilate quite a few guys very easily and just get a very good head start on the fight. So yeah, really like them a lot. Though they're not, I don't like them too much personally. They're fine, but they're good. But they're fine, good fights, decent design. But I'm not overly positive of them. They're fine though. I still like them quite a bit, despite that. Alright, now we're going into the Elder Dragon tier stuff. So, Chameleos. I like it quite a bit. The whole design's great. His movements are very jittery, and I really like that too. Design is wonderful. His fight itself is fun, you know, he doesn't have regular poison, he has venom, so even if you do get max poison resist, he doesn't, you don't negate it like Roggy or Puke, so that's good. And he's a fun fight overall. Him stealing your buffs is really cool. I know in previous games he steals your items, but he steals your buffs in this game. And his whole gimmick about turning invisible is very fun. Breaking his head is a very nice reward because it helps you see him more, because it makes his invisibility less good. He still does it a little bit, but instead of being completely translucent, it's a little bit opaque, so you're able to see his outline a lot better. And his whole relationship with the fog, wonderful. We like that quite a bit. Though some of his attacks are a little bit weird, because like the body slam, I feel like is just an attack that like even if you're behind him, it's like his whole body's a hitbox. So like even if you're behind him and it shouldn't really hit you, it still does, and it feels weird. Not that attack is like, it's very good because if you dodge it twice in a row, because he does it twice in a row, you get a very good shot at his head. But if you do get hit, you get staggered, and by the time you get up, you basically be up as well. So you lose that chance to hit him, which is a shame because it's the best way to hit his head, because it's stuck on the ground for a bit. But overall, he's a really fun fight, and the way he moves around and repositions while invisible is very fun. And overall, I think it's a fun fight. No, not one of my favorites personally, but I still like it quite a bit. And he's always quite fun to deal with, so yeah, I really like him a lot. Though I think like his gear isn't that bad. Just unfortunately, just I haven't really done a poison set, and also having Palcos have poison is just enough for me. So yeah, it's a shame because I actually have most of his set for master for high rank, but I had to get master rank, and I'm not sure I want to do master rank poison or not. So yeah, but either way, I really like his stuff, and it's a nice fight. I like overall. All right, Kashawa. He's also A. I like him a lot. Design's great. Not as creative as visually as Chameleos, but the dragon covered in iron is definitely quite nice for a design. Very fun. Really like him a lot. His whirlwind attacks are always great. Great stuff overall. I've never really worried about the wind pressure too much because I always have max wind pressure along with like max tremor. So it's like, because I have one decoration that gives me like max tremor baseline and a decoration SWAT on top. So it's like I never dealt with tremors once I got it. So yeah, I may have skewed some of my stuff for certain monsters, but overall, I think Kashala is a fun fight, even if I didn't have to deal with wind pressure too much. Whole gimmick about wind pressure is still fine though. Dragon wind is a thing, and overall, he's just a fun fight overall. The Dragon Stomp that he does twice in a row and gives you Dragon Blight to negate your elemental attacks is a little bit painful, but I've gotten a little bit better at dodging it since I first fought him, so that's good. And just fought him in Master Rank, and it's also really fun. So really happy with that overall. Though the problem is that his head break isn't really that noticeable for me. Because I broke his head and I just didn't really notice the difference in the fight, really. Like, Chameleos, you notice, he's a lot less invisible. But Kushala, first off, it happened a lot later in the fight, because I'm pretty sure his break point for his head is a lot larger than Chameleos's. At least it felt like it. So, I didn't really notice the head break too much, which is important, because, like, there are 3 original Elder Dragon trio. If you break their head, it affects their powers, so it should affect Kyle's wind pressure a bit. I'm not sure if it really does. I can't really tell, honestly, but despite that, it was still a fun fight. The tornadoes were really fun to fight and or go around and deal with. So yeah, it's overall just a fun fight overall. Not really much else to say. Just fun fight. But his ice gear is fine, but I already have ice gear already, so kind of shame. But still, I like it quite a lot and a staple in many games. So I'm kind of expecting him to pop up in Wilds, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, but overall, just fine. Not really much else to say. I'm happy with the fight, and much more positive than negative. Alright, Teostra, the Fire Cat. A2. I like his fight quite a bit. Like, he's the same with other Elder Dragons. Like, he's probably the hardest out of the 3 of them. Like, I had the most trouble with him out of the 3. But fire attacks are very dangerous. Explosion attacks are very dangerous. The Supernova is a very fun gimmick. And his whole gimmick of switching between explosive and fire is very cool, too. And really like the design. It's, it's still a dragon, Elder Dragon look to him at least. At least a basic version, 2 wings out of the back and 4 legs and, face. So he's fine. Like, he looks good design wise at least, and it's a fun fight overall. But fire attacks are nasty, explosion attacks are nasty, the dust danger attacks are nasty. Both because I just am not good at dodging them, and also because I'm just painfully allergic to dust. I cannot handle dust right now, and currently I'm actually a little bit stuffed up, so that's fun. So it's fitting, I guess. But yeah, it's a fun fight overall. Hardest out of 3 of them, in my opinion. Gear isn't that great, especially for like the dual blades, because it's ice and like blast, which is fine. But problem is it splits the elements between each separate hit, so it's ice then explosion. So kind of honestly, I would prefer if I got pure ice to get more damage out quicker, but blast is always quite nice. Not explosion, it's blast. So it's nice to have that at least. I'm happy to have more dual element, dual blades. So yeah, I really like it quite a bit. He's just a harder fight out of this and just a really nasty fight. Very aggressive, and even while he's not in like his enraged state, he's still very fast and aggressive. So makes sense. Fire dragon, so makes sense. So yeah, but yeah, really fun fight overall. Just real piece of work, and I really love it quite a bit. So though I kind of wish there was the other variant of him, the female version, Munastra, but Tiastra by itself is still fine. And we'll probably see both of them in Wilds probably if they ever go Elder Dragon stuff, or they could just get the new stuff again, where they get a lot of new stuff as well for Elder Dragons. So we'll see. But again, really like to fight. It's fun. Real hard fight, and I do prefer fights that are a little bit more difficult because like Rise definitely does have a problem where you kind of bowl through people a little bit too quickly. That's maybe because you just move really quickly as well. So I don't know. Like, I'm happy with a harder fight, but Teostra is pretty tough, and I had a lot of trouble the first time I fought him on both high rank and also on master rank. Alright, Crimson Glow Valstrax. I like him too. Design's a little bit weird because basically it's a wizard with a jetpack essentially, and that's a little bit. It's like how can he survive the G-force? But sure, whatever. It's fine. Besides design stuff, which is design's cool, but it doesn't make much sense. But his use of the wings to hit you is really cool. Projectiles and lasers are really fun. The attack where he jumps up to the air and slams down back into you is really cool. And to be fair though, I only fought him in high rank so far. I'm still waiting for the master rank variant of him. But I just kind of just bowled through him because I was halfway through Sunbreak during that time, and I was looking at the hub quest rank. It's like I had to get up to 100 to unlock him. It's like, yeah, we'll just do Sunbreak during that time, and when we unlock him, and go from there. Well, it turns out when I unlocked him, I'm already halfway through master rank, and I was way above his level for high rank, so kind of went through him really quickly. But despite that, it was still a fun fight. His air intake gimmick is really cool too, where if you damage him while he's intaking air to power his attacks, he explodes and you get a stagger, which is really cool. But overall, really like the fight overall, very fun, and I'm hopefully awaiting his master rank fight. I'm very excited for that, and hopefully you'll give me a little more of a fight because yeah, high rank just because I was in master rank already, it just kind of didn't do much. But despite that, still a very fun fight. Really enjoyed it, and again, looking forward to master rank. Alright, Ibushi and Narwa and her variant All Mutter. I like. So, first off, all three of these are more like, they're regular Monster Hunter, more environmental, kind of like cinematic fights where it isn't just you running up to a monster and trying to hit it. There's a lot of gimmicks involved, mostly like turrets and stuff where you shoot both of them down when you do certain attacks and all that stuff. And it's a very scripted fight overall. There's a lot of phases where it's like you do this and you do that, etc. But I think overall, I definitely do like Narwa and Ibushi especially, very much so. Overall fights, like Ibushi's fun. The wind mechanic's very cool. Him being a dragon element is also really nice. It's very similar to like Kushala, but more pronounced because Kushala only has a stomp, while Ibushi has a few more attacks that are related to dragon element. So that's cool. And I really like the wind mechanics. A lot of the scripted attacks are really cool to fight and deal with. And Narwa is very similar. A lot of electricity attacks, really fun overall, and just really fun overall. Like I think the music also helps a lot. The music is very nice for these fights. Ibushi Narwa music is pretty solid. But overall, they're fine. I actually really do like fighting them a lot. They're longer fights, so that's why I don't want to fight them too often. And especially since their gear isn't that great, so it's like I'm not too much invested in fighting them for their gear, which is a shame, but I still like them despite that, and it's a fun fight overall. All Mutter, on the other hand, not so much. I think All Mutter is kind of just I don't know. It still could be an S tier, but it's like I still think All Mutter kind of just some of those attacks are just kind of BS, honestly. Like the major attack where she summons Dragonator spears out of the air basically and just runs them across the ground while she tries to suck you in with a air current because she basically is Ibushi and Narwa combined. Is annoying. I had a lot of trouble with that attack, and often I just use a Farcaster to dodge it basically until I until I learned to actually dodge it. So, because that attack in particular was just such a pain to deal with. I never liked that attack. And Ibushi and Narwa has the laser attacks, but I feel like Narwa has the most of them and they're most annoying to deal with. So, like, of course, it's the final boss for base Rise, of course. So it's like, of course, it's gonna be hard, and that's fine. I just feel like some of the attacks are a little bit nasty because like Narwa and Ibushi are just in generally they're flying, so you have a hard time hitting them. But if you knock them down, you get pretty good shots at their head or body, which is a very good reward for doing a lot of damage or staggering or paralyzing or etc. And the problem is like Narwa, like especially All Mutter, it relies much more on like using turrets and like cinematic attacks. I guess, but like you have to. It's not you attacking Narwa to create a stagger. It's you using a turret to attack Narwa. So it kind of makes a little extra complexity to it. And the turret controls in this game aren't the best. You know, Rampage is relying on that stuff, and isn't that great. The Rampage stuff is kind of a sore mark on the whole game. But like the controls aren't that bad, but when you have to rely on them for a hunt like this, that could take a while, possibly, is a little bit of a problem. But still, it's still a fun fight. It's just that I guess like also you have to fight Ibushi first, but I guess once we get to Master Rank, I still haven't fought. I've fought Ibushi in Master Rank. I haven't fought Narwa or All Mutter yet in Master Rank. I'm pretty sure if you fight All Mutter in Master Rank, you go straight to the second phase, so you don't even have to fight Ibushi first, which is fine. So yeah, it's just unfortunately I just don't have that strong. I a little more negative about All Mutter just because my experience with her is a lot worse overall, but it's still a really fun fight. I really like it quite a lot. It's just some of those attacks I just don't like whatsoever. Again, that tornado Dragonator spin attack is annoying, but if it wasn't for that, I would be also an S tier. But there's just some things here and there that make me feel like it's a little bit too much. But again, it's a final Monster Hunter fight, so makes sense. Like that's kind of the point. So I'm not mad over it. Just personal preference. I think it's a little bit much in some areas, but it's still a fun fight. I really like it fight a lot. Unfortunate that Norwa stuff isn't that great either, but still very fun overall, and I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully dealing with her in Master Rank and seeing what hell it creates, so yeah. But overall, just really happy with how All Mutter is overall. Just a few things just lowered a little bit below regular Narwa, in my opinion. Alright, so that's the end of our not-so-ultimate tier list for every single monster in base Rise. Overall, I had a lot of fun with Rise overall, despite its many flaws, you know, Rampage, Apexes, and a few other things, but overall, I'm really happy with how the game turned out, despite its flaws. You know, there's always room for improvement, and hopefully those details will be taken into account for Wilds. And I'm looking definitely forward for Wilds, especially, so yeah. So either way, I'm really, you know, my opinions are probably very different from everyone else, and that's fine. It's an opinion piece after all, and I'm really looking forward to anyone else's response in the comments. So yeah. Again, I guess I'll begin the video, so I appreciate everyone stopping by. Like to comment, you know, like, comment, subscribe if you like the video, dislike if you don't. I really do appreciate everyone stopping by and all that stuff. And yeah, Twitch and Discord are available for those who want to go there. But yeah, appreciate everyone stopping by, everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed the video, and see y'all guys next time where I may be. So yeah, and everyone, ciao.